For the last 3.5 years, I've been involved in what you would call a legal situation, and for, I hope, obvious reasons, I haven't been able to say anything about it. Well, as of this morning, it's over. It's done. Money in my bank account, all resolved. And what I wanted to do was record a video and tell you as much as I'm able to, in the hope that if anybody else finds themselves in that position, it will help them as well. Hello everyone, welcome back. Well, where does the story start? I don't suppose it started 3.5 years ago. It started before that. And it started when I made a decision to open up a trust fund for both of my children. Because at the end of the day, when the next generation get older, and they need to get a car, they need to pay for college or anything of that nature, they're going to have trouble because the cost of everything is rising rapidly. We have enough trouble now. Us older people, and yes, I know I'm still a baby compared to some. So what I did, I opened up a trust fund for both my kids, and I put in an amount every month. And the idea is when they come of age, there you go, Dad. Thanks for the money, and then they can go and spend it on whatever they want. Now, my eldest boy, I say I opened a trust fund. That's not strictly true. It was already opened because from the time he was born, it was during the time of the previous Labour government where they were shelling out a few £100 for every newborn. And this is what happened. I took control of it, opened up another one for my youngest son, and then continued to pay both trust funds with the same rationale. Now, my eldest son, who's now in his 20s, his trust fund matured when he was 18. Said, there you go, here's a lump of cash. What do you want to do with it? He wanted to buy a car, wanted to buy his first car. He couldn't quite get all the way there with what he had, so we took his trust fund and I added a few hundred to it, and we got him a car. Now, it was a second-hand car which we went over to, and you can probably guess where the rest of this story is going. When we got there, I looked at it. Well, it's in reasonable nick. Had a look at the engine, checked the oil, had a look at the paperwork, and everything seemed to be in order. The only bone of contention was the vehicle was parked on a driveway which was very muddy. It was in the middle of autumn, so one of the things that I was unable to do really was check the condition of the tyres. So what I had to do was rely on the MOT, which had been done about a week previously to us turning up. So they'd obviously prepared it all. I said to my boy, do you want to take it for a test drive while I deal with all the paperwork side of things? Yeah, no problem. And off he went. He came back, and as young men are when they get their first car, yeah, I want it, I love it, it felt really good. And I won't say the location we were in, but it was about an hour from where we live. Anyway, we drove home. I drove home in my car. He drove home in the one we've just purchased for him. No problem. The following day, when he was driving to work, he phoned us up and reported that he'd had an accident in a local town. And he said what had happened, he was driving through like a railway bridge. It goes down and up, and there's like a blind spot on the other side. The car in front of him behaved irregularly, and he had to hit the brakes. The brakes themselves didn't feel especially functional, and the main problem was the car felt like it carried on going in one direction, and he was unable to stop it. And what he had to do was, I don't know how he did it to this day, but he managed to get the car stopped. We took it to a garage straight away, and it's one I've been using for 20 years, so I trust him. And he phoned me up once he checked it, because the initial idea was, could this car be repaired after what had happened to it? He said to me, where did you get this car? I told him. And he said that, I think you need to consider consulting a lawyer. I said, oh really, what is that? And he gave me a long list of all of the things that were wrong with the car. And I said, well, it's had a fresh MOT on it. It was sold with a fresh MOT, and visually, from my own knowledge, it seemed to be all right. Well, what we discovered after that was the fact that this car had an MOT done on it previously to the one that I'd been given. And the one that had been done previously had, I think there was something like a dozen faults, some of which were major faults, and it was a case of these need repairing, otherwise it's failing. We're not going to pass it. This is what happened. Within 48 hours, another MOT was done on it, another garage, and it had passed. No major faults, no nothing at all. And, you know, all of these faults that mysteriously disappeared, according to my mechanic, were still present and had not been repaired. So it looked like it was a case of, oh, get it through with this MOT so we can sell it. And I fell for it, didn't I? Well, obviously after that, what did I do? I went back to the person I bought the car off and say, look here, we've got a problem. Explained to him what happened and said, I want my money back. He immediately said no and said, sold as seen. To which I replied, sold as seen nothing. You've provided me with no paperwork which says sold as seen. I want my money back. And I gave him a deadline which he didn't meet, so I instigated legal proceedings. I provided all the evidence of the fact that we'd been done, and I wanted to be returned to the position that I was in before we went and looked at the thing. That was my son's trust fund, fuel, insurance deposits and everything else. He put in a defence to that claim, and between then, 3.5 years ago, and now, the whole thing had been adjourned 4 times. It was supposed to be heard at court, and the day before, and on a couple of occasions, the morning of the hearing, we get a call telling us that it's not happening. He wrote to me 2 years ago now, probably, and offered me 500 quid. And I thought, well, no. I thought, you're taking the piss, pal. So I told him that. I thought to myself, the amount that I originally put a claim in for, it was just over 2 grand. I thought, let's try and get as much of the trust fund value back as I could. So I put in a counter offer, and he ignored it. Now, the last time it was supposed to go to court was this month, and I emailed him again and I said, I'm going to make my offer again, and he refused it. Anyway, the morning of the hearing, it gets adjourned. I've just going to put my suit on. I get a phone call telling me that it's been adjourned yet again, and this time I thought, I don't believe this. Anyway, 2 days later, I get an email from him offering me another sum, which is higher than 500 quid and not as high as I was willing to accept. But he was very clever in the way he worded things. And I suddenly realised that if I was to say no this time, then it wouldn't look very favourably on me, because he'd attempted to meet me halfway. He'd upped his offer just enough, and if I went to court and said no, I could have risked losing. So in my view, I went with his offer. So in the end, because of the court system severely letting us down, how in the name of hell can a civil case take 3.5 years to be heard? We eventually come to an out-of-court settlement. Now, why has it taken 3.5 years to get to that point? Is the court system in this country totally screwed that we're in a position where this happens? I mean, thankfully we managed to sort it out between us, but how many cases are there out there where they're still waiting, still in limbo? Not only that, what about the criminal cases? You look at that stunt where Starmer's government are thinking, should we get rid of the juries? That's a direct constitutional right that we have, talking about getting rid of it. It really is a sham. I suppose the moral of the story is there's two. Number one, if you're going to buy a car, really make sure you check everything as thoroughly as you can. And number two, don't take anything for granted. If you've been wronged, go for it. Get your money back. See it through. Don't lose patience, because in this day and age, it can take a long time. Anyway, a bit of a waffle. Wanted to let you know what happened as much as I could. Hope you can glean something from it. Please subscribe to the channel. Appreciate that very much. Hit the like button. Share this with your friends. This video here is the one I mentioned about Starmer wanting to get rid of juries. And I look forward to talking to you soon. Toodaloo.